Hey guys, this is BRIA Jamie and welcome to my podcast. I have like a few minutes, so I was like, you know what, let me take advantage because I'm sitting here doing a voiceover audition and I was like, I need to record a podcast. I need to make this a thing. I've just been super called to do it. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately and this has been on my list of things to do for years, literally. And I already have the equipment. It's like, why not do it? So the last podcast episode that I recorded in my car on my voice memo. I was like, you know what? I just feel super called right now to do this. So I'm going to do it. So I did. And you probably will hear that before you hear this one, or maybe you're hearing this for the first time. If you don't know me and if you don't know what's going on right now, I'm currently pregnant with my second baby. I am almost 17 weeks in a couple days. And wow, it's just been such a wild ride being the second time around. And if you guys don't know yet, if you saw my socials, if you follow me, I am having a girl and I knew that. And if you guys heard the last podcast, I talked about how intuitive I've been feeling and just a whole different kind of energy with a girl. It's pretty wild. Like I'm feeling so tapped into the feminine side of things, just like the moon. And it's really wild because I've been, ever since I had Soul, my baby, my first baby, in October, last October. So he's a year and a half, almost a year and a half. Not yet, not quite yet. We still got a few months to go, but he feels like he's a year and a half. Anyway, ever since I had him, I had this whole new connection to my moon, my period, my womanhood of just having birthed naturally a baby and my blood. I've had a whole new relationship with my blood. And let me tell you, that was a whole new thing. So I'll talk to you guys about the Rite of the Womb ceremony that I was doing. I had found through Rebecca Campbell. I was reading her books, following her for a long time, and I found in her book Rise Sister Rise, which I recommend to everybody. Like, this book is so good, especially if you're a woman. Like, you will love this book. It's just all about the feminine rising up and our sisterhood, and she's an amazing writer. I love her books. I love her work. Anyway, she talked about the Rite of the Womb ceremony and, you know, connecting with your womb. And, you know, I had been following some people for a while on Instagram and they had been talking about womb work and women's stuff. And I was super drawn to it, but I had never really done any of that kind of work. I'd been sexually active as a young girl and had a lot of different, you know, types of partners and kinds of things. And I just felt like I had a lot to do in that area. I had just gone through a breakup, but then I was also in a new relationship, not married yet, but we were already talking babies. So I read about this in this book. We were on vacation and I was like, I need to do a Rite of the Womb ceremony. I'm going to find someone who's going to facilitate this. So there's a website you can go to. I think it's riteofthewomb.org or something like that. I can link it. But so I went and I met with the woman. She's so amazing. I met up with her. She did a ceremony with me, just me and her in her home. We did the whole thing, and basically you nourish your right for 13 moons consecutively. So I was about 4 months pregnant at the time. So I you know, started doing this, and usually you'll do it on your period. You'll have this ceremony on your period. Well, when you're pregnant, you do it on the full moons, or I think the new moons, but I happen to be doing it on the full moons. I somehow felt like that's like fertile vibes, and like that's when you want to do the Rite of the Womb ceremony when you're pregnant. So you offer flowers, you know, you offer essentially what you would do when you're on your period. You will offer your blood. And I had never done that before. So obviously I wasn't getting a period while I'm pregnant. So I am just doing it on the full moons. So I've been doing these ceremonies every full moon when I was pregnant. And I birthed Soul on the full moon. Now, I did not know he was going to come. He was 2 weeks late, like literally just before 42 weeks. I was so stressed. Let me tell you, that's a whole other story. But it dawned on me months later, honestly, only recently, maybe like 6 months ago, that, oh my gosh, that was my Rite of the Womb ceremony that night. I was in my ceremony, birthing my baby on the full moon. It was intense. It was wild. There was definitely some things that came up. I'll share my birth story in another podcast, but wow. So then after birth, right, I hemorrhaged after just moments after having Soul. It was pretty wild. That was a new thing also with the blood. Okay, so then I'm bleeding, after I have a baby for weeks and weeks and weeks. I'm just bleeding. And my cycle regulated after about 3 months. I started getting my actual periods. So I was like, oh, I guess it's time to do this Rite of the Womb ceremonies again. Because I had stopped. I honestly had stopped and I never finished that 13 consecutive moons. So I was like, I got to keep going. I felt guilty. I actually felt guilty for not doing the ceremonies. So I let 6 months go by of not doing these ceremonies. And I did. I felt guilty. I felt bad. And I was like, it's okay. I'll start them up again. And what was holding me back was the whole offering of the blood. Okay, it was so new to me. It was honestly a little scary to me. But I knew that it was something that was rising up in me of like, okay, this is fear. This is fear of my own body, which came up for me a lot during my birth with Soul. So I started to do this work, right? Because I felt like I cannot be afraid of my body. I was so afraid, you guys, after I had my baby. I felt like my body was holding on all this trauma. Like, oh my God, I can't believe you did that. I was just like the tingles. I don't even know how to explain it, but I just felt this whole, like, I'm afraid to touch myself down there. I was afraid to have sex. Like, I was just like afraid of like my body. And I was like, how could you be afraid? You just naturally birthed a baby. So working through that, I started up these Rite of the Womb ceremonies, and I also developed such a different connection with the moon, with her. And during this whole process of starting up the ceremonies again, and accessing my intuition, I started channeling the moon, and I just got so many messages from her. And if you've checked out my website, or if you've checked out my Instagram, Sacred Soul Care, I have some posts called her.moon, or it's like from her.moon, because that's what the messages are from. It's from her. It's the feminine. It's moon energy. It's women energy. So that's where I'm going in this pregnancy now, and now it's even heightened even more. So I'm still been doing these Rite of the Womb ceremonies. I'm about maybe 6 or 7 in. I started them up again on the full moons. And let me tell you also, like, once I got my period again, it came every new moon. And so, that was 3 months after having Soul. And then it took me another 3 months before I started doing the ceremonies. But I was getting my period every new moon. I just started to really tune in to my cycle. Started to really tune into my body, to the moon, to the seasons, to the tides, to nature. And my hormones, balancing my cycle. I had read the book The Woman Code years and years ago, and I had done the protocol and gotten the supplements, and really there's a whole eating plan and like meal list in that book that you can make, like, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I would literally make those meals. I was like, okay, I'm in my menstrual phase, I'm buying these foods. I'm in my follicular phase, I'm buying these foods. Luteal, ovulation. It was to a T. Let me tell you, this is on point. It was like a little horoscope basically for a woman having her periods. So I highly recommend that if you're really into like wanting to get to know your body and your cycle, and if you want to enhance your fertility and pregnancy. So I want to talk about like how this happened and how it was so magical, because it's just so wild, and it's all because of her. It's that feminine power, this energy, this innate energy in our wombs that we carry, that we have. And it's just so freaking cool, you guys. Like, I encourage you. I gotta do more with this and talk more with this, because I can be like a living testimony to tell you that you can be that connected to yourself. And you might not even think that you are. Like, look, I don't even think in my mind that I am. I'm like, oh, I could be so much more this. I could be so much more connected and this and that. But it's like, girl, you are. You birthed your baby on the full moon. You were doing Rite of the Womb ceremonies. You know, you synced your cycle so much that I got pregnant. Like, I knew right away when I missed my period that I was pregnant. And right when it didn't come on the new moon, I'm like, hello, where are you? Why are we late? And actually, the one time I did get off by a few days, I was like, okay, I have been off. It was, my energy had been off. I was not into, like, I was just off. And it was like a really like off month. And it's just like was not in my highest, was not in a good place, really, to be honest. So it's like, it's so magical that we can be that connected. So anyway, I did not plan to get pregnant so soon, honestly. I mean, look, some people might think it's so soon. Some people might think, oh, that's not soon enough. You know, there's always all these opinions, right? Well, for us, I felt like I could wait another year. I wanted my kids to be close in age. Okay, I did, because in my experience, my brother and I were 5.5 years apart, and that was just a lot. I don't feel like we were that close. We could have been. I felt more like his mom, his second mom, growing up. He was like my baby. And I didn't really want that for my own children. I was like, I want to have, you know, kids close in age. And I want like at least 3 or 4 kids, you know. I want to have a little team. That's just me. But anyway, I was not planning on having another baby. I feel like I was still like in my postpartum. I was still like adjusting to just having soul and my body. And I was kind of like looking forward to also having my body completely to myself, because I was still breastfeeding. And I was planning to just breastfeed till whenever, honestly. But then I got pregnant and my boobs hurt so much that I was like, I can't do this anymore. And it's just, honestly, we both, Soul and I both just kind of weaned together. He had already been eating solids mainly, like, all the time. And, you know, he was able to drink a little bit of goat's milk, and that's just what we do now. And he doesn't even breastfeed at all. But I was, you know, looking forward to having my body back completely. I was like, I want to get laser hair removal. I want to do all these things that I couldn't do when I was pregnant or breastfeeding, and at least have 1 year, right? I was like, I just want 1 year. And boom, I'm pregnant. So it's like, there's no in between, but that's fine. And in fact, you know what? This is what I originally wanted. I wanted my kids to be 2 under 2. Before having Soul, you know, like if I was in a perfect world, which obviously this is the perfect world because it's happening. But honestly, I felt like financially and career-wise, I could have had a little bit more time. But look, things don't always happen exactly that way, and there's always a bigger purpose. And I just hold on to that, and I trust that, even though it's been a little bit of a rough season, not gonna lie. But, you know, taking it a day at a time. Either way, wasn't planning on this pregnancy, but I think subconsciously I was. And God and universe and the moon, they were. So here we are. I was like, we could totally use a Cancer baby. Look, I don't know if the baby's gonna be Cancer or Gemini, to be honest. She's due in June. Don't know when she's gonna come. I've definitely been studying the calendar, studying the dates, and feeling into all the astrology of it. And it all feels good. There's some dates that I'm like, that sounds scary to me, but hey, I had no idea about Soul, that he was going to be, like, I knew he was, I wanted him to be a Libra. I also thought he was going to be a September baby, and he came October 9th. So I didn't even look at October hardly at all, because I was like, I really thought he was coming in September. And I would have never thought he would have come on the full moon in my sun sign, Aries, which is wild. And so he's a Libra sun and an Aries moon. And if you guys know astrology, that is like that even balance. Like, that's the complete opposite. So I was always like, okay, my son's going to be a Libra. That's amazing, because that's Aries' perfect match. Well, he's Libra sun and an Aries moon. So this kid is like full balance. So I think it's super cool. And I'm like, I just have to trust. I trust my baby knows best. And we are going to ride the cosmos together to find that perfect energy and that perfect time for when she is going to be born, and when I will get to be reborn again too. So it's such a dance, and it's so beautiful. But before I was like thinking, I was like, Fabian, my husband's a Taurus, he's an earth sign, I'm an Aries, I'm a fire sign. Okay, we got an air sign, a little Libra air sign, we just need a water sign. So we'll see if she's gonna be a little water sign, but it's just magical. So I was thinking that before. I was like, I would love to have a Cancer girl. I think that would be so cool. And that would mean that I'd have to get pregnant around Soul's first birthday. And then I was like, okay, well, let's make it his second birthday. Because I was like, okay, I'm not ready. Maybe next year, right? But boom, here we go. And let me tell you, this was not a moment that, like, I was not ovulating. Or at least I thought. Okay, so this was all God. All right, but you know what's crazy? And this is how powerful spirit is. I don't know if I was just super connected. Maybe it was because I was high in the moment, but like, or if it was just feminine energy, but I knew that conception happened. I saw the white light. I knew it occurred, and I was kind of like, oh shit, like, oh my God, it was a freaking moment. But I just kept denying it because I'm like, no, I mean, I'm not ovulating. I just had my period. There's no way. But something I didn't realize was that if you are still breastfeeding, it is very possible to be ovulating earlier and a lot longer. So personally, I don't think I was ovulating. I think that the sperm lived, up to 5 days, and I totally forgot about that. So I think it hit my ovulation window, and that's what happened. But either way, I'm so grateful. And when I found out, I already knew. I didn't even take a test for weeks because I was like, I don't need to take a test. Like, I don't want to take a test. I actually didn't even think I was going to take a test at all. But I did because Fabian really wanted me to. And, just that physical proof, I was like, fine. And I knew it was going to come up positive, and it did. And I was so happy. I was so at peace. And honestly, I can't say I felt that way the first time. It's like I was happy, but I was also very scared. And this time just felt so at ease, at peace. I felt like I got this. It feels good. And that's all I wanted. That's all I wanted to ever feel with a pregnancy, because believe me, I had many times in my life where I had to take a pregnancy test and I was praying to God that it was negative. And the one time that I did say yes, that was that was just the worst moment of my life at the time. A whole other podcast, I'll have to talk about that, but that was years ago. And this was all I wanted, to be at peace fully and just happy and know that everything's perfect and this is how it should go. And it is. And you can have that. Anybody can have this. And, and it just comes from, being so in your body and your heart and your spirit, in your womb, and doing that womb work. So I want to offer to you guys, I'm going to keep this a little shorter, and I have so many stories, obviously, that just want to come out of me already in this one episode, but I don't want to keep this too long. But I have a Facebook group, Sacred and Spiritual Pregnancy and Motherhood. Please join that, because if you're pregnant, if you're a mother, I'm going to be doing a few offerings that I think will be really cool. I want to get some mamas together that we can talk about this stuff and do these ceremonies and do this work together, because it's so important. I've been lacking in that area. Like, I feel like I need community, and I know that there's other women out there that need that community too. So I want to be that for you guys if you're looking for that, and we can get together and feel like we can be spiritual and have a sacred pregnancy and make our motherhood experience, sacred, and keep that spirituality alive and be on this transformational journey of pregnancy. It's so beautiful. It's so wild. It's the coolest thing ever. So I'm super excited to have a little girl and teach her the ways of the woman, because we are freaking powerful. We are a force to be reckoned with. And I just can't even believe how many times as women deny our power and just make ourselves feel small, or that like men are better than us, and it's not even like the case. Like, we have something that they don't, and we're so freaking powerful. And also they're powerful too in their own ways. It's not like there's no divide, it's just that we are what we are, and we can step fully into it and embody it and love it so fully. So I'm super excited to share this journey with you guys. So go and check out the Facebook group. I am creating a meetup. It's in the works, and you can check out my website. I will be posting the links below. And I hope to see you guys in the next podcast. Thanks for listening.